Very good day to all. My name is Mr. Roshan Antony Coelho from the Department of Hospitality Science, Milagros College, Mangalore. So today I'll be doing the employee salary statement under the HIS practical part 1, that is Excel. So here we have some examples of 6 names or 6 employees, their designation and their basic pay. Now the basic pay is varying from amounts from about 20,000 and below 20,000, which I will explain to you in further in this sum now. Now we are going to begin with the DA. So how do we calculate DA? So before we calculate the DA, we have certain statements that we have to follow. Now you can see here, to calculate DA, we just have to do 10% on basic pay. So how do we do a 10% on basic pay? Before we start any formulas, we have to start with the is equal to sign. So now I have put the sign already there. Now let's begin with the sum. So the statement states that 10% of basic pay. So when I press this 40,000 here, you can see that it's highlighting the cell here as well as the name of the cell and its number, the D and the cell number 3. So that is the D3 is getting selected right now. So 10%, that is into 10 divided by 100 and enter. As you can see, 10% of basic pay for DA is 4,000. Now once we have done this, we can there's another method that we can drag the sum now. You can see a small box here. If you drag it down, and automatically all the sums get calculated for that same amount. So now we have all the amounts for DA. Yeah, to calculate the HRA, so we'll see the statement here. So the HRA states that 75% of basic pay. Now we have a if clause over here. The if basic pay is greater than 20,000, else it is 0. So the statement states that if the basic pay of a particular employee is more than 20,000, then only calculate it for 75%. If not, if it is less than that amount, then it would be 200 by default. So now we are going to show this in the form of formula. So let's begin. As you can see there, I'm starting with the equal to sign. Then if statement, open the bracket. So now basic pay. So I'll press on the basic pay amount here is greater than symbol. You know that this symbol represents the greater than symbol, greater than 20,000. So I'll type in 20,000, comma, then that means now calculate once again for basic pay into 75 divided by 100. So now it's stating that if D3, that is basic pay, is greater than 20,000, then once again basic pay, then calculated for 75%, that is 75 divided by 100. If not, so if it is not above 20,000, if it is below 20,000, then the statement states that we have to write it 200. So I'll type in comma else 200. So I mean you do not type else there, but as the statement said, else 200. So comma 200 and close the bracket, and I hit enter. So you can see that it has calculated for the HRA on the basic pay. Now when I drag this down, you can see that automatically it has done the calculations. Now you can see that anything less than 20,000 or 20,000, you can see here the sous chef as well as the GRE, they are coming between that, below the 20,000 mark. So hence the formula made them, that is, it gave the statement that you have to write 200 here. So you can see here 200 is written. Next we have to calculate PF. So PF is nothing, 12% of basic pay. So once again we start with the formula is equal to basic pay into 12 divided by 100. So we have the amounts here. Let me drag it, and now it is done. Now we are going to calculate gross pay. So how do we calculate gross pay here? You can see here gross pay is nothing but basic pay plus DA plus HRA. So we are adding 3 things over here. So equal to basic pay plus DA plus HRA and enter. So you can see I've got the amounts, and now I drag it down. So now till here I think everything is clear. So now once again we have to find the IT and net pay. Yeah, so to calculate IT now we have a clause here. That is, to calculate IT we have to do 10% of gross pay, and once again we have a clause here, that is the if statement. If the gross pay is above 20,000, then only we have to calculate for 10%. If it is not above 20,000, then automatically this turns to nil, that is 0. So when we do it in the form of formula, we have to put it as equal to if, as we start with the if statement, open the bracket, gross pay is greater than 20,000, comma, then calculate that gross pay for 10%. Comma, as the statement said, if it is not above 20,000, then make it as 0. So I'll type in 0 and close the bracket and enter. And now my formula is done. It has been calculated and I drag it down. So you can see that everything is done now. Now you can see here that every amount here is about 20,000. As you can see, 21,000, 22,000. Nothing is below 20,000. So if the amount in this was anything below than 20,000, then automatically this would have shown it as 0, because in the statement we have shown it as 0. So it would have been shown as 0 here. So that is how we calculate the IT. And finally, we have the net pay. So to calculate the net pay, once again, we have a clause here. That is a formula. Net pay equal to GP minus PF plus IT. So let me just put it here. Equal to net pay, that is gross pay, minus, open the bracket, PF minus IT. And close the bracket and enter. As you can see, this is done and I drag it down. So I've got all the amounts here. So this is how we do a employee salary statement depending upon the clause that is given to us and also the formulas. So once we put the formulas right here, everything goes on according to the formula and we get the answers. But if any mistake in the formula, even with the proper annotations as well as the symbols and signs, the sum wouldn't calculate. So this is how we calculate the employee salary statement. Thank you.